Hey everybody, welcome to another episode. I'm your host and moderator, Anthony Rivera Strain, and this is the Crowdsourced Politics News Roundup. Today I am joined by Art Black.
How's it going?
Mateo DeGaulle.
What's up?
Nikki Adams, who is joining us off camera today. Nikki. Great, everyone stepped away at the inopportune moment. And Afra Della Riviere, who is currently off camera handling her child. If this is the first time you've joined us on one of these news roundups, we try to do these every week, Wednesday, starting at about 7 p.m. Eastern. And we cover the weeks of news from Wednesday of the previous week to the Wednesday of the current week. Today we have a jammed pack session here for what we're going over because of everything that's happened in the last couple of days, and obviously what's going on in DC and other parts of the country right now with right-wing agitators basically protesting and trying to quote-unquote stop the steal. As you can see, we have a collected feed present on our end here. It is from one of the other Twitch feeds right now, and that is being provided to us by Sean Dixon, who is currently helping us out with our direction right now, and he might join us after he is done with some things he's taking care of. So before we get into all the news, how was everybody's holiday?
What holiday?
Best holiday ever. I'm not even kidding.
I think I'm muted.
Oh, you're unmuted. I can hear you after now.
It was lovely. I kind of enjoyed not seeing anybody or doing anything. That was great.
Yeah. Like no forced pleasantries and small talk and all sorts of shit that neither
That's
party
very
cares
true.
about, but they go through it anyway.
Very true.
Yeah, and invitations that you have to decline, and it's awkward.
No, you
I
just
got
say
to
you'll
avoid
see them
most
there.
of
You just accept them and never show
Yeah.
up because they don't even mean it when they offer them anyway.
Ain't that the truth?
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
fourth cousin I haven't seen in 6 years. How's it going?
Can't wait to see
So
you. Just
happy.
call me.
Sure, right here, buddy. But so I'm glad everybody had a decent holiday, even though it was uneventful. What do we want to talk about first? There's a ton of stuff going on. We can talk about the protests that happened in DC. We can talk about COVID spiking. We can talk about the vaccines. What is on your mind? What do you want to talk about first?
Probably the infrastructure bill.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, that's really interesting.
Is that actually happening now?
It is not.
Well, we could go chronologically, talk about the Georgia elections.
Sure, I like that idea.
I was pleasantly surprised, and I think I'm with a lot of people who woke up this morning feeling pretty good and confident. And unfortunately, Ossoff's win was drowned out, but it seemed pretty clear in the morning that they had both won, Warnock and Ossoff. And I found it surprising. I don't know. Did anybody call that? Even though Biden won, I didn't really start to feel confident about it until I started to see Khaki Kornacki up at the board kind of saying, like, showing how people were, how Warnock and Ossoff were outperforming Biden by 1 or 2 points in certain areas, particularly in red areas. So I thought that was interesting, and it was also kind of encouraging. But waking up this morning, things seem to be looking up, and not particularly because, obviously I'm a liberal. I prefer having the Democrats in office, but just not the divided government in the time of COVID seemed to me like it was going to be a big problem, and not knowing how far obstructionism was going to go. And so I was happy, and then we see how that went. So what did you think? Did you think that they were going to win, the Democrats, or how likely was that in your estimation?
I was just surprised that they were close.
Yeah.
Like, that was pretty weird to begin with because it's Georgia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, I was actually expecting a split. I was expecting Warnock to
Me
win
too.
and Ossoff to
Yeah.
lose, simply because Ossoff doesn't seem to be really well liked in Georgia. But thankfully, King Mitch McConnell. Oh yeah, I did it again. King Mitch McConnell. Definitely.
Guys.
What's up?
Guys, breaking news.
What?
From Twitter safety, the account of real Donald Trump will be locked for 12 hours following removal of these tweets.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
You're lying.
No.
They have been. About an hour ago, they made it so that you could not reply to his tweets.
Holy
Right,
shit.
and then they basically deleted the tweets. So yes, as a result of the unprecedented and ongoing violent situation in Washington D.C., we've required the removal of 3 real Donald Trump tweets that were posted earlier today for repeated and severe violations of our civic integrity policy.
Oh my God.
So basically, oh, I'm sorry. This means that the account of real Donald Trump will be locked for 12 hours following the removal of these tweets, meaning once he deletes them, 12 hours later, he can get his account back. If the tweets are not removed, the account will remain locked.
Holy shit.
That is amazing.
Shots fired.
That's funny.
Holy crap.
Want to break in
okay.
really
stunned.
quick? CDN, thank you again for the follow. We greatly appreciate it.
Hey.
Man, I cannot believe that is happening. Wow. Well, I can to a degree. I mean, everybody
Yeah, I
knows
can
he's
believe
out,
it
right?
entirely. Look what's going on.
I'm locked out of Facebook for 24 hours for using the word bukkake.
Seriously though?
I'll send you the screenshot.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Oh
That's
my
absolutely
God.
insane.
You
I'm
can't say
stunned.
bitch anymore. You can't say bitch. You can't use the C word. Everybody in my groups has been getting flagged for that or losing, access to their account.
I mean, those
We'll
are
talk
arguably
about-
gendered, but bukkake is just gross.
We'll-
That word.
Right.
We'll talk
That was
about
a terrible metaphor.
We'll talk about Facebook going ham on the bans in a bit. We should probably keep
Anthony,
a little bit on track. What's up?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay.
shot today has died.
The person
Yes.
that was shot today has died. Did you said?
Yep. The woman who was shot in the Capitol has died.
Oh,
Yeah. About an hour ago.
Jesus.
Hmm.
Anyway, back to the Georgia election.
Yeah. So as I was saying, King Mitch McConnell, and I'm going to be doing that since I actually got the voice down pretty good. Is the reason why Democrats won in Georgia. People are giving a lot of credit to that win to Donald Trump, and I think a lot of it is deserved for Donald Trump because he was, promoting conspiracy theories about like the election was rigged, and that's going to depress the vote, especially among his adherent supporters.
Yeah, he's
But-
self-destructive enough.
Yeah, but Mitch McConnell not agreeing to that $2K a month check,
Yeah.
or not a month, the $2K stimulus check, really, really hurt him and the Republicans in Georgia because a lot of people needed that money. And then, of course, we have the $600 check that people are like, well, this is basically nothing, but it's better than something. And there's issues with that too. So I think it's the combination of those two that caused the cause Ossoff to win. I was pretty sure that Warnock was going to win, but Ossoff winning is a pleasant surprise.
Yeah, I think.
Shattered.
Also, Trump.
Go ahead,
Sorry.
Afra. No, go ahead, Afra, and then Nikki, please go ahead.
No, I just want to say I think that Trump as a campaigner has been really bad at doing his job, because when he goes to places to campaign for these other politicians, he doesn't talk about them. He doesn't pump them up, and he doesn't sell them. He talks about his own grievance. So like at worst, he's accomplishing at best, he's accomplishing nothing, because he goes in and he talks about Twitter, and he talks about whatever the election and what was stolen from him, but he hardly ever says, I need you to, like what Biden said, vote for the Democrats and we might get this stimulus. If you don't vote for the Democrats, you're definitely not getting the stimulus. So there's no salesmanship. Trump is supposed to be this great marketing genius, but all he knows how to market is himself, because all he knows how to talk about is himself.
Well, he puts his name on everything. He pisses on buildings
Yeah.
like cats.
That's like saying Paris Hilton's
so.
a marketing genius. People just look at him when he screams, and he got away with it for years.
Yeah.
Like it's so annoying. I'm part of it too. Like I'm not gonna be like, oh, I'm better than that, but it's like, fuck.
Yeah, it's pretty
Like
bad.
he's like an angry child who just gets lucky.
I think we'd be remiss by talking about Georgia and not bringing up the push for registrations and voting from different Democratic groups, either led by Stacey Abrams or inspired by Stacey Abrams.
That's all this was about. Just
This is
Stacey Abrams. There's no other name you had in mind.
Well, no, there's no other name I have in mind because I'm terrible with names, but there are other groups on the ground that have done this work. And but she did train some of these people that started their own groups in different areas of Georgia in order to get the voter registrations and people to vote and engaged and stuff like that. Where Sean is in chat saying that Yang actually went to Georgia and helped out a little bit there too. Don't know how well that went, but that is also true. Yang was down there helping with get out the vote. So all the people came kind of together to like push this vote. And while it wasn't as big as the presidential election, it blew out all the previous off-year elections that we've had in Georgia for like the last, I want to say 20 years. It's like the biggest turnout percentage wise for Georgia. And generally speaking, when turnout is high, Democrats do better. And it seems like that seemed to be the case here as well.
And they did better with the early vote and the mail-in vote too.
Correct.
By a lot.
Art, please go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say there does seem to be some evidence that Republicans also do better as. I mean, you look at Trump in this election; he actually got more votes as an incumbent than any president ever has. So it does benefit Democrats, but it doesn't harm Republicans. Like they actually also do much better. And I think that a lot of the inclination to not help people vote is probably I think it's a lot of misconception in some cases. They probably would be better off not doing it.
For sure. Nikki, you had a point you want? Okay, Art, if you're not done, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm done.
Nikki, did you have a point you wanted to break in with?
Just in reference to Georgia, do you guys know who Eddie Izzard is? The comic?
Yeah.
Also an actor? Okay.
Guy.
He did a Take or Death, the same exact video. He did a video called Dress to Kill, and it's amazing. If you haven't seen it, you should see it. But in one part of it, he talks about having had career people come to his grade school when he was in school. And, the career guy said, "So what do you want to be when you grow up?" And he said, "I want to go to the moon. I want to find planets that have never been." And the career counselor says, "Look, you're British, so scale it down a bit." That's how I felt going into this election last night. Like, you're a Democrat, scale back the hope. There is no reason to believe that this is going to happen. And even this morning, I was like, well, obviously, I mean, it absolutely, this is going to happen. These two Democrats have won Georgia. Well, I was like, yay, when I should have been like, motherfucker, yes, finally. And I wasn't because because I just couldn't, because my psychic skin, my political psychic skin is so scorched, I guess. I don't know, but that's what I had. I'm just glad we won it. One party rule for at least 2 years. Let's hope we don't fuck it up. I'm a Democrat. Scale it down a bit.
Great point, Nikki.
Yeah.
I like this balance. I like the Democrats having the House, Senate, and the executive office, while you got like some real right wingers in the Supreme Court. Because it's almost like a really strong filter, and they can throw whatever they want at it. And what makes it good, what doesn't, I mean, I'll have to see at the time. But I don't know. If it's going to be unbalanced, I want a Supreme Court there who's not going to be ideologically homogenous to everyone else who has power.
I think that makes sense. I mean, certainly now we know now for a fact that there is a faction of the Republican Party who married itself to Donald Trump because they believed that his base was going to carry them. And we see now what that has wrought.
Mm-hmm.
And
they were fighting with each other today, even before all of this craziness happened. They were at each other's throats, the Trumpist wing and the McConnell wing, and blaming each other for what happened in Georgia. And this is like the last thing that they needed on top of that.
Or expected. I don't think they expected it to happen either. I was watching Rick Santorum, God bless me, and I'm an atheist, but God bless me anyway.
That's
was
CNN.
Yeah, CNN. Yeah, he looked like somebody had hit him in the middle of his forehead with a 2x4. He was stunned at what was going on, and he was like, I'm hearing from everybody, and nobody thought that this would happen. This is not what they signed up for." I'm like, "Yeah, this is exactly what they fucking signed up for." The man told you he was a snake in January of 2017. You thought it was just about the Democrats. It's not. It's about Trump. It's always been about Trump. He is a transactional individual who is a malignant narcissist. He doesn't care about anybody but himself. And I'm sure that today, when this shit popped off, he was sitting in the White House watching TV and laughing with glee, with glee.
I could see that.
Yeah, he doesn't care. He's not a Republican either. He doesn't care at all about the Republicans or the Republican Party. If it's not going to have him, he doesn't care about its survival.
Now, here's the question. At 8 o'clock, they're supposed to come back into session. Will they come back into session chastened and just do their fucking jobs? Or will they come back into session and be like, "Oh no, I'm going to challenge, let's see what, Georgia." Is that what they're going to do? Or are they going to shut the fuck up?
Rand Paul Rand Paul was just on TV, and he kind of hinted at that they're probably going to skip a lot of these objections.
Yeah.
So I think that this is, yeah. I mean, politically, this is so incredibly toxic that it was all fun and games when it was make believe, but now make believe has become real, and suddenly when shit gets real, actual politicians that understand how the game is played realize they played it too far.
Yeah. They were given plastic bags to put over their heads while they lay on the Senate floor.
Yeah, they had to be freaking terrified.
Yeah.
Wait, why plastic bags?
There are these special bags that they give you if they either suspect that you're about to be tear gassed or they're going to tear gas the building.
I got
they
you.
all got one. So if you look real closely at some of the footage of the people lying around on the floor, they're wearing plastic bags over their heads, and it's I don't know. Art might know what it's called. Do you know what it's called, Art?
I don't know the term, but that's exactly it. If you're going to clear a building with tear gas, then you're going to obviously not want to get gassed yourself. So that bag does. That's a good way to go.
CDN in chat. All right. CDN in chat said they're called emergency exit bags. Go ahead, Afra, please.
No, I was just going to say that's got to do something. That's got to wake something up.
You would think.
Where you say, maybe this is not the right path for us at this moment.
Yeah. It's all fun and games until somebody dies. Then it's not so fun anymore. Until people are breaking out windows in the freaking Capitol building, like we're Belarus or Venezuela. What the hell?
Yeah, and these people aren't just terrorizing Democrats. They're not just like anybody out there watching. They're just terrorizing your enemies. They're terrorizing the guy you voted for Congress. They're terrorizing your senator, people that you support, people that you voted for. It is indiscriminate terrorism.
Yep.
Is what's happening right now.
Well, I mean, they tried to take sorry, Afra, go ahead.
No, I'm done.
They took down the American flag from outside the Capitol building and attempted, I don't know if they got it up there or not, attempted to raise a Trump flag. This is a coup. This is sedition.
They were also carrying Confederate and swastika flags inside the Capitol.
Inside the Capitol. This is not normal. This should never have happened in the United States. And these bastards who think that his audience of one is going to help them, hopefully they all had a come to Jesus moment as they lay on the floor of their offices or in one of the chambers.
So randomly, funny thing that this reminded me of, being back in Iraq where we'd be kicking it. There was a time where I lived in the Victory over America Palace. Saddam had like 100 odd palaces, and we repurposed a lot of them. And I lived in Saddam's coat check for a while. He had like a downstairs, closet, but it was comfy enough.
I hope it was a big coat check.
it was actually there was 4 of us in there. But you'd get indirect fire, and you'd have all kinds of random nonsense going on there, and it was just interestingly reminiscent. Saying basically we have our own palaces. The Capitol is its own palace, and to see that kind of action on the home front, it's to me, is weirdly familiar, but also not in a great way. But for people like senators and congressmen who are not used to that sort of thug life. I think it's like you guys were saying earlier. That's a wake up call. That's when you realize, you know what, the fun time's gone too far. It's probably this is time to wrap this up.
Yeah.
So you can't have a sense of humor about this when you're unarmed inside a building and you have people outside who are storming it, and they're even if they're on your side or not on your side, they might not necessarily want to make that distinction because they're coming in there to make a point.
Right. And also, I mean, I was under the impression that initially they were going after Pence. Like they were in there.
Some of them probably were. Yeah.
Some of them
absolutely
were screaming
were.
about Republicans. Yeah, these were just complete animals. These people are.
Well, these are QAnon people who, yeah, you got a lot of
Proud Boys, fascist.
Yeah.
Right, but you'll get the kind who, you know, they probably want to take out Democrats and Republicans for different reasons. But yeah,
I know.
Yeah, now
Traitors.
you have these people at your gates breaking into your offices. Like, you see them carrying like Nancy Pelosi's broken sign from her office around. Like, no politician wants to get that close to the action. That's when they stop having fun.
Yeah.
Yep. They called them traitors. These people are not Republicans. They are not their voter base. They are Trump cultists and QAnon fools. These people, come on, these people in the Capitol right now, they
the
are
Venn
not their
diagram is
base.
probably a little messy, but yeah.
I don't know so much about that. Like, we keep saying these aren't Republicans, these aren't conservatives, and yeah, they're not the conservatives that we know from like 1980s.
People are probably apolitical most of the time. They're probably bitching mostly about like social issues.
Right.
But we have to acknowledge that people like Rush Limbaugh, Hannity, and these other media personalities have been cultivating these people to be Republicans for the last 40 years now.
Yeah, you're right. Tucker Carlson, all of them. You're right.
Now, to be fair to Mateo, yes, most of them are apolitical and probably don't consider themselves to be Republican. But they do
consider themselves to be Republican. They're just dumbasses, and they literally bitch about cultural issues. Probably mostly like,
immigration,
like something that that doesn't even touch their lives.
Well, yeah, but
that's why I mean, calling them Republicans, it's like trivializing politics in America. These people are a lot dumber than that.
Yeah, I think the issue is that this is like they have only one metric. It's either you're with Trump or you're against Trump. So,
exactly.
It's like calling the BLM protesters Democrats. You guys wouldn't take that. You guys wouldn't sit there and be like, you know, it's just the same thing. It's just these are just shitheads.
Well,
rioters.
Okay, I agree. I want Art to break in with the point he's trying to make, but I just want to say this thing, Mateo. I mostly agree with you, but I feel like we have to acknowledge that these people have been cultivated for a while.
And you don't think the BLM people have been cultivated? Like when
they've been
there's a disparity between black and whites who are killed, and people instead make it sound like it's just a black or white thing. Like,
let's not go into that because then
I'm just saying that's cultivating them. I'm contradicting him. He's saying that these people weren't cultivated, and they absolutely were. Like, those were completely random.
I didn't say BLM wasn't cultivated to vote for Democrats. That's obviously the case.
But there is not one news, quote unquote, air quotes, news channel that you can turn on at any given time of the day or night and see people rousing emotions about Black people being shot 24/7. That's what you have with Fox and Newsmax and
that's beside my point.
OANN.
Just keep in mind, this is beside my point.
But it's like 24-hour propaganda on one side.
Yeah, sure, that's true, and Fox is garbage. I'm just saying
you guys are talking past each other.
Yeah, my point is that there is cultivation, and it is at a pretty high social level, if not political. I'm sure I could find, if I wanted to Google, I could find politicians basically stoking the emotions, being like, they murder our people. Like,
that's the word, stoking. That's the word
before,
I was trying to figure out.
Yeah, it's like when George Floyd was killed, the officers were arrested. I mean, not right away, obviously. It was really bad what they did. But eventually when they were arrested, the protest didn't stop. So it's like, actually, now I'm getting off on a tangent.
Yeah,
it's fine.
There's too much to,
there's too much overlap with this.
What happened was, I think it's an important, I'm not trying to make any distinctions because I think this needs a lot more looking at, actually. But what happened was that these people were cultivated. Yes, but it got out of their control at a certain point. It got out of the control of people like Rush Limbaugh, and is now just a sort of cult of personality where the only thing that matters. I mean, like looking at, if I drive down my street and I see the neighbors that used to have giant American flags flying from the front of their house, they're all replaced by Trump flags. And it's not about any kind of really political orientation or even a comprehensive ideology or anything consistent. It is only about Trump. So if you are not with Trump, or if you momentarily turn against Trump, you're a rhino, you're not a Republican. And the amazing thing about it is that Trump is not a Republican. He's just for Trump. And he never was a Republican until, what was 2015 maybe. So
right. No, that's fair.
It's only about him, and you can't control that, especially if he doesn't want to control it. And we're looking right now at the ramifications of both that strange cult relationship that he was able to take and just hijack from conservative talk radio and media, and like this sense of people not having any actual political moorings whatsoever.
Okay.
That's very, very well put.
Art, you wanted to break in with a point. Guys, try to pay attention to the video a little bit more so people aren't talking over each other as much as you can.
Sorry.
Art, please go ahead.
So I want to give you two things really quick and then see what your take is on this. So Vice President Pence's press secretary just put out, VP Pence has returned to the Senate. He never left the Capitol. The VP was in regular contact with House and Senate leadership, Capitol Police, DOJ, and DOD to facilitate efforts to secure the Capitol and reconvene Congress. We will now finish the people's business. That's one. The other one was from the Department of Defense, Secretary of Defense Chris Miller. He said, Chairman Milley and I, who's chairman of the Joint Chiefs, just spoke separately with the Vice President and with Speaker Pelosi, Leader McConnell, Senator Schumer, and Representative Hoyer about the situation in the Capitol. We fully activated the D.C. National Guard to assist in federal and local law enforcement as they work to peacefully address the situation, on and on. So these press statements are coming out now pretty fast, but they're leaving out Trump.
Yeah.
They're talking about Pence coordinating efforts with the Senate and the House to quell the situation, and everybody's leaving out Trump.
That's
that would be beautiful if what
Yeah.
I'm thinking is
Trump.
happening.
Now,
Because that's like a really good message to send, like for future things.
Yeah, it is.
Like it's going to really deter a lot of bad behavior in the future. And I'm not saying use Trump as like an example, but I'm saying he gave us the opportunity to treat him accordingly, and that will coincidentally make him an example.
It's just, I totally agree. It's very interesting that today started with everyone worrying that Trump was going to hammer down on Pence for not doing what he wanted. And it seems like, basically Pence seems to be rallying, the House and Senate and even the Department of Defense and law enforcement to, basically put a stop to the chaos and violence. And they're cutting Trump out of the loop. So that's, I mean, that's a de facto.
That would be a coup in a way.
Divorce.
I
support. Don't get me wrong.
It's almost a counter coup.
It is actually.
But
right.
It's just interesting that you're seeing a lot of these messages coming out that are looping everybody in, and the only thing that's coming out from Trump is coming from Twitter customer support saying that they're pulling his card for 12 hours.
My God.
Trump's chief of staff just resigned.
Oh,
due to protests.
This is
due to the protests.
Didn't Trump at 6 o'clock tweet something out that's basically like supporting what they're doing?
Yeah, he did. That's when they pulled his card.
I was gonna say that's gonna fucking do it, because before that he said the police are on our side, be orderly or something, and I'm like, okay, good, he's saying the standard shit, and then he like basically supported the protest or rioters.
Yeah,
and that's when I'm just like, okay, so all this makes a lot more sense now.
He called them special people. You're special people.
I think I have it latest tweet right here.
One second. Okay. So one of the people that are watching us again said that Pence is also the one that authorized the guard to come in. So it was not Trump.
Right.
Good point.
So thank you for bringing that up.
And done, wouldn't do it, and Pence was the one who had to authorize it. But I think that they were already getting the Virginia governor had already authorized it as well. So this is what he said. He said, these are the things and events that happen when a landslide election victory is so unceremoniously and viciously stripped away from great patriots who've been badly and unfairly treated for so long. Then he says, go home with love and in peace.
Yeah, like, get out of here.
Rand Paul states that the Cruz-Hawley group has been chastened and now won't challenge any more states.
There we go.
Thank God.
What?
Somebody
chastened? I'm sorry.
Rand Paul says that the Cruz-Hawley group have been chastened and now won't challenge any more states.
There we go.
Okay, so it's done at this point, right?
Yeah, it's done. I think. Well, I mean, it's not done.
It was always done. This is just a pageant. It was.
They're still rioting. They're still trying to riot.
You never think the villain or the killers, unable to have one last scare.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
Hiding behind the garage.
It's okay. He's dead.
Right. Yeah.
Oh God! Why'd you say that? Everybody, knock on wood. Don't happen. Don't happen.
Just saying.
Jesus.
Oh wow!
So how about Lauren Boebert or Boebert? I don't even know how to pronounce her name. Did anybody see her today?
The Glock girl?
Yeah, she went like nuts. I was watching all
the one that was screaming.
Yeah.
Oh my God!
I was watching all the House people just waiting for something like that to happen, and she delivered. It was great.
Oh my God! She was like, "What's her name?"
She just kind of went nuts.
She screamed. She immediately reminded me of Junior's girlfriend. The best is yet to come.
Yeah, that's actually a good way to put it. Yeah, she was really just laying it on thick. It was fucking hilarious.
Was this what was the context of this? Was this before the
opposing the vote?
Or?
This was before in the House. They were opposing it. It was like the formalities before. Yeah.
The challenge. To speak in support of the challenge. That's what she was doing.
Let me break.
It was good. You guys should check it out. It's really funny.
If you are joining us again, this is Crowdsourced Politics News Roundup. We go live on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern. If you want to join us and get your question asked on air, please join the Discord server. In the rules verification, there's a hey, do you agree to rules? There's an okay emoji. Click on that. You'll be able to become a member. And then we can get you in if you're hanging out one of the Hangout chats. Just DM one of us. You can see our names in there, and we'll get you in to ask a question. Who was up next?
I wanted to just break in with CDN. Thank you very, very much. You're being very helpful to us.
Yes.
He points out, they point out that Trump also didn't address the public from the official presidential podium today. The only podium he got behind today was the one set up to address the protesters, which I also find very interesting.
I mean, he is really this gets said in politics so much that it doesn't get taken seriously, but he is really like a child. It shouldn't have taken this long, kind of, but it makes a lot of sense if he's being excluded.
Yeah,
especially in his final days.
I mean, and he has to be even though we all hate Mitch McConnell. Even though we all hate Mitch McConnell.
Yeah, but Mitch McConnell at least has a coherent morality.
Exactly.
And he cares a little bit about the country.
He's a little bit about democracy and process and that sort of thing. So
say what you will about guys who are all about the establishment, but the establishment stability. I mean, you get a lot done under a stable framework like what we have. It's not perfect. But I mean, somebody like McConnell is infinitely preferable in that they care about getting business done. I mean, unfortunately,
more or less.
Say what?
I said more or less.
Well, no, I mean, when I say business, I mean it literally. Like he cares about big business, but there's at least some value in that. It generates economic activity. There's something to be said for it. It's not just idiotic self-promoting chaos.
Thank you for the follow, ES Boss. We really appreciate it. I think we've kind of, I'm not going to say that phrase, we kind of overindulged on the Trump and the protest a bit. I think we should talk about other news, and then we can come back to this as more things developed as we're live, if we so desire. So we talked about Georgia first. We talked about Trump and these protests that are happening right now. What else? Should we talk about the vaccine a bit? What's going on with the variants coming out of South Africa? How we think that might play out?
I heard some people were trying to cut down the doses or something.
I heard
Is that something
too.
that people were doing? Because that sounds really careless.
Yeah. So at least one QAnon pharmacist, I don't know where, destroyed, I want to say 300 or
500.
Yes, 300 to 500 doses of the vaccine. And I think he was the only pharmacist in his rural area, so that's pretty much all of the vaccines that existed there at the time. He admitted to believing that the vaccine is designed to, I don't know if he actually said mind control, but it said it's fake and COVID is exaggerated and this is all a plot to control people. So that did happen, if that's what you were talking about, Mateo.
No, like where if there's a
shit.
shortage or something, someone was saying like you can give them half a dose or a reduced dose if you want to stretch it further.
Oof,
but I
didn't see that.
I only heard about it on the radio. Someone was saying don't do that. Like, but the fact that it even got brought up made me concerned.
That is terrible. What?
Sorry, Afra, I interrupted you twice.
That's okay. I was just saying they were talking about doing it for adults under 55, saying, you know, there's a claim that if you're under 55, it works just as well, which seems very specious to me if they cut the dose in half. So, and I don't know if they don't have a vaccine or if this is a matter of rollout. I know that Fox News spent most of the first part of the day talking about how Andrew Cuomo's vaccine rollout hasn't been good enough. I'm not sure how New York is doing things any differently or any worse than anywhere else, but that's what they spent their time talking about. And yeah, it does seem it does seem really sketchy to me, and I hope that it doesn't catch on. There shouldn't we have aren't there like 4 different vaccines at this point? Why are we
At least.
Yeah.
That have all been approved though by the US? I thought there were still only 2 that had been approved.
Fuck, I used to know. I think there's like 2 mRNA ones, and then there's one like almost traditional one. Moderna is it? Don't quote me on any of
Moderna,
this.
yeah. I think Moderna. I think you're right. Yeah, I think that's correct.
All right, cool. Because I was like half guessing. I'm not really that.
It was a good guess.
I forgot most of
right.
everything I read about this already.
Oh, hold on. Donald Trump is back on Twitter on his alt.
He has an alt?
On his
Is
alt?
it Aaron?
What the fuck?
I'm kidding. I can't back that up.
Aw, man.
Oh, God.
I was expecting him to say something ridiculous again, and we have to talk about it. Oh, well.
How awesome would it be if Barron Trump's account just all of a sudden started tweeting exactly how Trump talks, saying all the things that Trump says?
Well,
right.
He has POTUS account, right? That's not banned. He just doesn't use it.
Right. Remember when the Krasenstein brothers got banned? So they started going under like one of their wife's accounts. Like he's going to jump on like Melania's to take it over. She's going to start typing in all caps.
Not Donald Trump.
Not
Stop
Donald
the
Trump.
steal right now.
In non-Trump news, this is from last week, so it's like ancient history, but it looks like Andrew Yang is entering the New York City mayor's race.
There he is.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah,
there we
he
go.
pulled
Some
pretty well,
positive things to talk about here. Afra,
It's
please go
more
ahead.
like speculative. He filed the paperwork. He's been talking to the people that you usually talk to about this. He hasn't officially announced anything yet, but he's definitely got feelers out. And one of the people that you talk to, if you're particularly a Democrat running for New York City mayor, is Al Sharpton. So that's what got reported. And now everybody's talking about like, why is Andrew Yang talking to Al Sharpton? But anyway, that's what happens in New York. That's how it works. So what do you guys think about the possibility of Andrew Yang as America's mayor?
Would he
Wouldn't be bad. He's like a really likable dude. I disagree big time with UBI. I've talked a lot of shit about that, but I think he's cool. I think he'd be a cool governor or a mayor.
I mean, you like a big, so you don't dislike the idea of giving people money. You just don't want it to go to everybody.
Well, yeah, but still.
Yeah, I gotcha. I just want to make for anybody that might jump in now, like give them some background about that.
Big is basic income guarantee. If anyone out there doesn't know.
Thank you, Mateo. Nikki, what do you think about Andrew Yang jumping in? I'm asking you directly because I can't see you on camera.
I think it's a great idea. I mean, I think it's. Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you just repeat yourself? You broke up right as you started talking.
Sorry. I think it's an excellent idea. I think it's time, and I think this across the board, I think it's time to have some young blood in our politics, especially in New York City. I think it's a fabulous idea. I hope he makes it.
Yeah, he's one of two that they're kind of derogatorily calling celebrities. Maya Wiley is also in the race more officially than Andrew Yang is. And I think, billionaires tend to do pretty well in New York City as I don't know, is he a billionaire? Is he Yang? He is, right?
He has a net worth lower than Bernie Sanders.
Yeah, he's not a billionaire.
He's not. Okay.
He probably could be if he wanted to.
I think
he's definitely capable of it. Sorry, Afra, go ahead.
Yeah.
I don't really have many opinions. I was just, throwing it out there.
Has he been I don't know how long has he been living in New York? That's my only question, because I didn't know that's where
he was born there.
He was stationed. Well, I mean, right, but I mean, is that where his residency's been for the last, I don't know, 10 years or whatever?
Yeah, he's not really,
okay.
To my knowledge, lived anywhere else. I mean, he travels a lot.
I just wasn't aware. I wasn't trying to bring up
thought he
anything
was
negative.
from California for some
I mean, I
reason.
assume he would have looked ahead and made sure he was qualified. I hope he has.
Well, I wasn't.
If not, I'm going to change my opinion about him as mayor.
I was not trying to imply that he wasn't. He didn't have residency status. I just didn't know how long he had been in New York. That's all.
Have we seen his birth certificate? I'm only asking.
Oh
God!
Came out of a Wuhan lab.
We just got canceled. That's gonna get clipped, and we're fucked now. Thanks, Nick.
It's canceled.
It got canceled. Sorry, I don't do a good Donald Trump.
But I think, from my end, I think Andrew Yang would make a really good mayor. Mayors tend to be more executive focused than people give them credit for, and they have a lot of ability to change things, working in conjunction with city councils and that sort of thing, and also with DAs and the police department. And him being mayor of New York, I could see a lot of positive changes coming out. He's a data guy like I am, and there's no reason for me to disbelieve that he wouldn't go through and use math to make things better for people of New York City. So
the one thing I really like about it, and if you've never lived in New York or seen how their media is, the New York City media is vicious on levels that you can't even imagine outside of there. In California, we don't have anything like it. There really isn't. And I love my boy, but he needs to toughen up a little bit. So I think that getting in and actually having a real political job where he's part of, it's always great to be an outsider because people love that kind of routine, but to actually get stuff done in the establishment, you need some street cred. So I think actually getting a real job, under the Democratic banner where he's, doing good things as a Democrat, part of the party, okay, you did the outsider thing, great, but you do need to at some point move into the system. Even if you want to take it over, you still need to get in there. And also, I mean, that's just brutal. I mean, New York City politics, dealing with their media there, dealing with the political forces there. Good God. Most of the country has no idea how vicious that is. So I think that's great.
I can only imagine. Go ahead, Afra. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, and the NYPD.
Oh, yeah.
Historically and traditionally intractable, particularly if you are a Democrat. It's so difficult to break into that. It's a huge political force. And I think the media, what Art says about the media is true, but maybe even a bigger problem will be how, and I think these are questions that need to be asked in the debates at this point, because what's gone on with de Blasio and the NYPD, de Blasio and Cuomo, and the arguments that they've had, they're going to have to talk to them about what your approach is going to be to this really really powerful political force in New York City, many of the people who work in the NYPD are not from New York City also.
Really?
So, they can't, they're from Long Island, and they're from Westchester, and they're from, wherever. They're not, most of I don't know this for a fact, but a good amount of people who are NYPD officers, they live in Nassau or Suffolk County. So they're not voters, but they are a huge political force. It's a giant union, and they really don't like Democrats. So it's something that he's going to have to deal with. If, as Art says, he's going to toughen up, that's going to be the real test, I think.
Yeah, I remember when the NYPD, they had that event and they all turned their back on de Blasio while he was speaking.
It was like his second day in office or something.
Right.
He just got elected. There was no allowances for the new guy.
Yeah, all because he said something about like, I have a black son, so I have to be worried about him. Like,
yeah, no, I think it was because he said something. It wasn't just because he's like a Democrat. It was more just like, I have a black son, so cops are a danger to him. Even though, if you look at the stats, it's, I mean, sure, more than white people. You're true. There's a disparity, but as far as you have to like hide behind an SUV or something, that's a dramatic. That's overdoing it.
Yang really good about being sensitive without engaging what, like, he kind of knows how to not trigger the right in terms of like identity politics while also still being sensitive. So I think that he managed to thread that needle in a way that gives him a lot of moderate appeal.
That would work for him.
I could see
Yeah,
that.
he's really disarming. Like, that's like
disarming. Yes.
When he started out, everyone was shitting. Like, I was way harder on him than I am tonight. Even like, I was one of the people shitting on him left and right. And after a while, it's like you just kind of can't. Like, sure, I'll still talk crap about UBI, but Yang is a person and probably as a politician, he's probably decent at least.
Sure.
New York has done worse, and not to Rudy Giuliani any names, but sometimes that worse is still out there.
Oh my God.
What's he up to these days? I haven't.
Oh, he was at that rally this morning.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah, he was talking about what is it? What they should bring back dueling or one-on-one combat, or what was that?
Combat in the streets. I thought he called for. He incited. He was part of the inciting crowd.
Oh, he was, but he was also talking about challenging people to duels and shit. I was like, what? Like,
I was watching the
amazing.
Sopranos episode, and
How
they
old
were
is this
talking
guy?
about in the Sopranos. They were talking about like bad Italians and everything, and then like someone wanted to like be like, "Oh yeah, well, what about Rudy Giuliani?" And that did not age well at all because he is such a crazy person now.
Speaking of things that didn't age well, so you remember that tweet this morning from Chuck Schumer? It said, "Buckle up." Somebody replied to that just a minute ago saying tweets that didn't age well.
That's probably not what he meant.
Right.
Giuliani said that the pro-Trump rioters are, quote, on the right side of history. That's
my God.
Recent Rudy Giuliani
Oh
statement.
my God. Did you hear Trump say that we need another, New York wants Rudy Giuliani back, but maybe this time a younger version? We'll get a younger one. How's that, Rudy? How's that?
Jesus
Maybe
Christ.
he's talking about Don Jr. or something like that.
Rudy from the year 2000 would probably hate Rudy from the year 2020.
Oh yeah, I'm sure
He would
they
be like,
would.
"What happened to me?" He'd start like crying. He'd break down.
Brain melt. It would just
be like, "Look at me."
Yeah, it comes right. It'll come right out his ears and run down his face. Oh wait, that already happened.
Because he was actually respected for a while. He was respected enough to actually be considered a formidable opponent in the Republican primary.
Yep.
And it's insane. Like, and now, like, the only reason he's even up there now is because Trump still brings him around. When Trump's gone, you think people are still going to be like, "Oh, get me Rudy Giuliani." Like,
absolutely not. Well,
yeah, this
he'll
is
be busy too, guys. He'll be busy. He'll be busy trying to defend Trump in all the lawsuits he's about to enter after he leaves office.
Because nobody else will.
That could be as well.
So
I don't think Rudy wants to go back to New York. I think he's a target of an investigation there. I don't think he wants to like be there in people's faces.
It sounds really dramatic of me, but I wouldn't be surprised if he is out of the country somewhere where there's non-extradition treaties like Cyprus or whatever. Just vacationing on Cyprus.
Permanently.
Yeah.
I said the same thing about Trump too. I would not be surprised. He would be harder to get out, but I mean, Putin's done it before. That's what he did with Yeltsin. That's how Putin secured his spot.
He was going to go to Scotland.
Scotland said,
and they said no.
Nah, man, it's all right. You don't have to come here.
Scotland said, "We ain't taking you, dude." Exactly.
I was in Scotland about a year and a half ago, and let me tell you, they hate him. You go into any gift shop in Scotland, and they have all kinds of Trump, gift memorabilia, and it's not flattering at all. They hate him so much over there. They don't want. I don't know by what means they can actually exclude him from coming there, but they did tell him.
That's the excuse they used was COVID. Under COVID restrictions, he will not be allowed to come to Scotland. And somewhere in Scotland, somebody's going, "Thank God for COVID." I don't mean it that way, but thank God for COVID.
Wow.
Jesus.
Yeah, it'd be a lot easier to go to Moscow from somewhere in Scotland than it would in America.
Yeah. They did offer him asylum, Russia, and they offered him his own city in Russia.
Yeah, he'd be with Snowden, maybe. I mean, think about that. They would love him. Imagine,
they would.
You don't have to hate America. You could just be rivalrous with America. But if that happens, where the president comes to you and it's like, "Fuck those guys," you're just gonna be ecstatic. It's gonna be a holiday, probably.
It will be.
I think Russia would be so "Look at us! Oh, we got a president."
Not only do we have Snowden, but we have a president.
Maybe Eastern Republicans.
Great.
The Western ones are a little more cultured. No,
what was that?
I thought that was funny.
No, I just didn't hear. I didn't catch it. Did you say Eastern Russians?
Yeah, I was saying something that doesn't really matter at all. But
no, I mean, so for those that didn't catch the joke, Eastern Russia is basically south of the United States. So it's that's the joke.
No, it's true. I can see the.
Thank
I
you.
can see my house from there.
How much nobody would know.
Oh my
that,
gosh!
So, never mind. It's more complicated.
Oh my God, Art.
No, it's very very easy to understand.
I'm glad you caught it.
Said he can see his house from there, just as I was about to say, I can see Russia from my house. We both had the same thought at the same time. That was
so
weird.
Good.
Can you see Russia from where did that come from? Okay,
it was an SNL. It was actually an SNL skit.
Okay, because I do remember a lot of shit about
that.
No, she did actually say that, Art. I can see Russia from my house.
No, she didn't. You can look it up. It was an SNL skit.
Okay.
Okay.
But it was funny because it's something she would say, but
yeah.
But feel free to fact check me on it. But
no, I'm going to do it right now.
Word.
I am.
No, never take my word. I say crazy things.
I think she said something about you could see Russia from Alaska, maybe, and then they threw in my house because that's funny. Maybe I don't know. I'm trying to just come up with ideas why, because there has to be a reason why they probably just didn't throw that out of nowhere.
Yes, you can actually see Russia from Alaska. So that's possible.
It's 63 miles at the closest point.
Is it true? Misattributed. So yeah, Art is correct.
No, this is one of those things.
There we go. Here it is. I have it. Basis for the line in the SNL skit. Palin's 11 September 2008 appearance on ABC News, her first major interview after being tapped as a VP nominee. During that appearance, interviewer Charles Gibson asked her what insight she had gained from living so close to Russia, and she responded, "They're our next-door neighbors, and you can actually see Russia from land here in Alaska, from an island in Alaska." And she said it in a way that immediately Tina Fey was like, "Oh, this is gold."
I mean, yeah, that's definitely sniper fire and Bosnia level bullshit, so it's definitely worth laughing at.
But she didn't say that she could see Russia from her house. That was an SNL skit.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Thank you, everybody, for the fact checks.
No, here's the thing. The reason I know this is because I was growing up, I loved quotes from famous people. So I had a pretty decent stock of things that people had said. And as I got older and the internet got better at it, I realized that everything that I thought was a real quote was made up. Like 90% of these quotes, they're all fake. They're just fake. They're just not true.
Is that the Mandela effect? Is that what that is?
Oh wait, man.
The what effect?
No.
How everybody?
Oh wait. Yes,
swear.
I think that's a technical term.
Yeah,
Hold on.
everyone.
What is
Something like that?
No. I think you're right.
The Mandela effect, like Nelson Mandela.
Oh, the Mandela effect.
Sure it is.
I thought you said the vanilla effect.
Oh. You know what? Okay, so the Mandela effect is related. So that's all right. For instance, you remember that Sinbad movie in the '90s where he played the genie?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay, but that never happened. But the thing is, people
right.
everybody remembers that. You can even look up Sinbad movie '90s.
Because the pets. The pants he
be-
wore. He always had those parachute, like he looks like a genie in all of his like stand-ups.
Exactly, right. But he wasn't
great.
actually in a movie where he played a genie. It was just his pants. So it's just that's the Mandela effect, where people remember things that didn't actually happen because it was similar to something it did.
Yeah.
That's perfect,
I
man.
remember
I was gonna
that.
be like, I think I do.
No, I remember reading about that recently. So I wanted to just take us back because we were talking about Rudy Giuliani and him apparently his 27-year-old self coming back to be mayor of New York or something like that. And Trump not being allowed in Scotland. So, a lot of the talk before all of this crazy shit happened was, what are the Trumps going to do? Like, what's Ivanka Trump? There was a lot of talk about, can Ivanka and Jared come back to New York City where everybody hates them? Where are they going to go? And this idea that perhaps one of the Trumps is going to grab the torch from Fat Donnie and like run with it and run for Senate, or Ivanka Trump running for Marco Rubio's seat or something like that. Does anybody see a political future for the Trumps, and what would that look like?
I think the
Not
Southern District is
anymore.
gonna have the last say about that.
I think whatever chances they might have had, and I think their decision was that they were going to mount some kind of a thing from Florida because what?
Uh-oh.
Republican Senator Tom Cotton issues a statement saying it's time for the president to accept the results of the election and quit misleading the American people and repudiate mob violence.
Oh,
Yeah.
He's lost Tom Cotton.
That's going to happen. Oh God, Tom. Oh wow.
When you
Don't let this
lose
fool you. Tom Cotton's still a big piece of shit.
Don't.
Oh yeah. But that's what I'm saying. When it's that bad,
Like he's one of the worst people in Congress.
He looked at where everybody else was backing Trump. He's like, I gotta differentiate myself from these people. I'm not gonna back Trump this time.
But what has Rafael Cruz had to say? That's what I really want to know.
I'm not sure, but there's now 31 House members calling for Trump's impeachment and putting together articles.
There you go.
I
knew that was coming.
This is a really good reason to impeach him.
It is a good reason.
That was.
At the same time, it's what, 16 days? Like,
it doesn't matter. You want it on record.
Yeah,
here's the reason: is that you can actually bar him from running again if he's impeached and convicted.
Exactly, for any public office, he's barred from any public office ever again.
Mm-hmm.
And the Republicans would like that because then they don't have to deal with him in 2024.
My God, you're right. My God, you're right.
Well, I guess there is a point to do it then, other than the record and holding him accountable.
Yeah, you definitely want it on record, even if he's going to get away with it. It's not even about punishing him. It's more about just, hey, you could set a precedent that you could impeach the guy twice. So in the future, if you have to, you don't need to go through some argument about, oh, you can't do it twice. It'll be precedent. And plus, I lost my train of thought.
Happens to the best of us.
It will also take, it'll take some heat off of the Republicans for not removing him the first time.
Yep.
And then this is what he did. This is how he behaved a year later. But they might be able to kind of wash their hands of him, and people.
That would be a great way to do it.
Now, when there's like nothing to lose, now all of a sudden they found their morals.
Oh,
yes, when there's nothing to lose, of course.
Even though I still say Article 2 last time was bullshit, but Article 1 is good.
Oh, did you see George Bush, George W? Of course, it's George W because the other one's not here anymore.
I haven't seen him since he stopped drinking.
Did you see or hear his statement about the insurrection?
I did not.
It's Laura and I are watching the scenes of mayhem unfolding at the seat of our nation's government in disbelief and dismay. It is a sickening and heartbreaking sight. This is how election results are disputed in a banana republic, not our democratic republic.
This isn't Fallujah.
Oh,
that was good, Mateo.
Wow.
That was really excellent.
Wow.
He goes on.
Good one. That's going down the quotes.
I am appalled by the reckless behavior of some political leaders since the election and by the lack of respect shown today for our institutions, our traditions, and our law enforcement. See if there's any more of it here.
He needs to call out Trump. Why is he so fucking diplomatic about this?
I don't know. Why didn't he talk before this?
Right.
And that's my problem with Mitch. Don't get on the floor today after everybody knows you've lost your shell. Say it 2 weeks ago. Say it 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, like I said, it's so socially safe for them that it's almost like, sure, man. It's like, I mean, thanks, but
I know why.
don't pat yourself on the back for it now.
Anthony
because
knows
they're
why.
cowards.
Yeah. I forgot for a moment. You're absolutely right.
Anyone who saw some of the riot footage, was there a guy? This is out of nowhere; it just popped in my head. But I was told there's like a video of a guy with the thin blue line flag actually hitting a police officer with that flag. If anyone knows where that's from, I need to find that. Yeah, I need to get that still.
I am looking that up right now. Please.
I mean, if it happened, someone else will find it before I do, probably.
CDN probably knows where it is.
Photography coming out of this one, man. Like,
oh yeah.
God.
I'm uploading it now if you want it.
Oh,
you actually have
It's in podcast chat.
Well, then I have to display it. Fuck. Hold on. This is you said
it's not the part where he's hitting him with the flag, but it's the same guy.
Oh,
okay. I need that still of him just hitting a cop with that flag, like the symbolism. It's just so there's too many layers there.
I think that's something that we could talk about. There's been since the last time we were live, we took a break over the holidays, like pundits tend to do, and there's been a lot of debate among how would you say this? Like not right wingers, but pro police, anti BLM, conservatives, and that's
when you want to be general, that's when you use left and right. So if you're trying to be a lot more general, you could throw out right wingers. Before, when you said Republicans, I took issue, but that's because that's more specific. If I'm making any sense,
I mean,
there's a lot of people on the right who I wouldn't call Republicans. And same thing with people on the left who I wouldn't call Democrats.
Okay,
right.
That's fair.
That's very true.
So I'll say right wingers. So there's been a lot of right wingers lately that have been questioning their support of the police due to these anti-mask lockdown protests. We had it happen in Portland. We had it happen in DC today. We had it happen in a number of other different states over the last month or so. What do you think? Do you think they're coming to the realization that the state isn't on their side and the police aren't on their side? They're just there to enforce the law and bust heads when needed? Or do you think this is a simple, oh my God, it's targeting me, so rah!
Yeah, they probably just stay the course and come up with some stupid excuse why, and they must keep fighting.
Like, I think it was in Portland. They try to go in and the police kind of stopped them, and they're like, I can't believe I backed you, man. And so they put the flag on the ground and started walking over it as they were leaving. Because, they didn't want to actually throw blows with the police, but they sure wanted to wag their finger at them. How dare they?
There's only so many days you have on this earth, and think about that's what these people are doing with them. I mean, like, half of it spent sleeping, and it's just amazing.
I mean,
is this what you want to be doing when Jesus comes back?
I can't talk shit. I spend like almost 90% of my waking hours scrolling through Facebook, so I can't say shit.
Talking politics, like intellectual debate, is a little different, even if it's not always intellectual. It's a lot different than like standing on the street, just virtue signaling whatever your cause is all day. Like, like you got to be out there in the street surrounded by people who you don't even know. They're just screaming next to you about like whatever cause. I don't know. I think it's a real waste, and it's kind of weird.
I mean, I guess that's fair. If you want to participate in these discussions, be sure to join our Facebook group or our Discord. Details on our description.
Do it. You know you want to.
Can we just point out that there was hundreds and hundreds of arrests in Ferguson per day, and there have been a grand total of 15.
Thank you.
Now that the Capitol's on fire. Just throwing that out there.
The police
I was this many years old when I realized all you needed to do is to overthrow the United States government was show up with a couple of friends and some flags.
A couple of friends and flags, be white, yell.
Yeah,
you just
right.
Did they give the government back yet?
Actually, unfortunately, they did.
Back.
I was hoping
thank you guys for giving the government back.
I was hoping that guy with the Viking outfit was going to take over. That had some good, like, Warriors, Mad Max energy, but
when I'm feeling really immature, I would love to show up to See, actually, I take it back. You could show up to a protest acting crazy if it's ironic, like as a Viking. That would be funny as hell.
Oh
That's
yeah,
worth the
ironic.
time.
Yeah, totally. But you have it has
Just
to be
playing like
completely-
Malmsteen the whole time, like on repeat.
So that guy's name is actually Q Shaman, and he's apparently a well-known figure in the movement.
Oh god.
Oh man.
All right. Yeah, no, that guy.
Oh, Sean took down.
Yeah,
the-
he's probably
the
less
feed.
ironic than I would.
They're back.
but
Congress
you
is
totally
back in
could go
session,
ironic with
guys.
that.
Yes,
Techno
good,
Viking. He needs
good.
to make a comeback.
Techno Viking, yes. Based Stickman. Like they need to get some of these guys in here.
Didn't
That
guy
name is
split
just
off?
funny in its own right.
He split
So
off from
good.
Proud Boys, right? We
Yeah,
need a
yeah,
poll to
Base
see how
Stickman.
many people regret not.
Well, no,
just
didn't he
voting
take
to-
control? And then like everyone was like, "Nah, that guy's kind of weird. We don't even."
Right,
like him.
right, yeah.
I mean, he took.
He's
Techno
too
Viking.
base for us.
He was kind of a one-stick pony.
The things you learn about people.
Terrible.
Being
Yeah, yeah.
It's really
Yeah.
terrible. Congress is back in joint session, guys.
Oh, that's good.
Good. They're
I
gonna get
mean-
this shit over with.
I mean,
Mike
Rand-
Pence just gave a little speech about how, I don't know, I guess condemning the violence, and now the turtle is speaking. I swear somebody should hand him tissues. He looks like he's going to cry. He
Trump
sounded
is
like it all
helping
day.
these guys look better than they are too. Like he's giving them
Yep.
an opportunity to be like, "Oh, I am opposing this all." Like
Today
and
was
it's
a
all at
dark
the end
day.
of the ride.
All right,
Today
hold
was
on,
a dark
time-
day in the history of the United States Capitol, says Vice President Pence. The people's work continues. For those who wreaked havoc in the United States Capitol, you did not win.
Good.
Yet. That's what they're
Yeah.
gonna say.
You dastardly fiends.
Right.
I was privy to a thread full of Trump supporters today where they were attacking a libertarian for not thinking that what's going on in the Capitol is totally cool and normal, a normal part of a healthy democracy. And I'm telling you that the delusion is so strong that people they can't even maintain a thought or an argument or a discussion for more than like one post, and they move on. I feel so. I came away from it feeling so bad for people, because apparently between Trump and whatever media they're consuming, it has seriously turned their brains. Like, I
Yep.
know that you will say that there is an analog on the left, but there is the lack of coherent thought could not possibly be more obvious. And it's really kind of frightening. And I don't know. I had to throw that out there because I think a lot of people, I don't want to say they need to be deprogrammed or that they're in a
They
cult.
do. They do
Oh.
because they are.
Wait.
They do.
Really,
Mitch
really-
McConnell says the United States Senate will not be intimidated by thugs. We will not bow down to lawlessness or
Oh.
intimidation.
Wait a second, they're not black. Why would you say that?
I was just about to say, wait, what?
So there we go.
He's
Thank-
he's
thank
I
you.
gotta
Thanks.
remember this one next time people say thug is code
Right.
for a black person. I'll be like, listen, the turtle even says it for white
Even the
people.
turtle dropped that line.
Turtle calls crackers thugs, guys. Come on.
You're gonna get us banned. Oh my god.
No,
he's
Just kidding, you're
shaking
not.
his finger and
Wait, are we
everything,
on Twitch
guys.
right now?
We're on Twitch and
go.
yes,
Oh, shit,
it's all
my
good.
bad.
Don't worry about it. It's all good.
It might. Okay.
Nah, whatever.
I eat crackers with cheese.
He
Sometimes.
said slackers, people who are not very efficient and energetic. They're just slacking. It's slackers.
Because I'm a slacker. Anyways,
Right.
Ew.
let me break in really
Slacker.
quick to thank Amaxi for the follow. We greatly appreciate it. Be sure to tune in to us every Wednesday and at 7 p.m. Eastern when we go live. Oh, reported. I'm just kidding.
Who got reported?
Nah, he was joking.
Did you get reported again, Anthony? Are you-
CDN, it was joking.
I know
We
Twitch
got
is kind of
canceled
crazy
and
with shit, like that, so I was like, oh shit.
No, it's fine. You'll be all right.
Just
But,
freaking done now.
But
He's done.
speaking of censory or censorship, I think we should talk about what's been going on with Facebook lately. And because we are born out of a little Facebook debate community, political debate community, I think we should talk about it. Let some of the viewers know that might not be on Facebook much, but it's coming to Instagram. And it's more than likely going to permeate through the rest of major social media. We've seen it on Twitch, and we've seen it previously with Reddit Reddit's being taken down, like the Donald and what was the Chapo Trap House official Reddit been taken down due to calls for violence. So to give a brief little recap, right before the election, our group, Crowdsourced Politics, the Facebook group, was taken down by Facebook due to two admins, one jokingly telling me to kill myself, and another admin posting the OK symbol with an explanation of how it actually was co-opted by a white supremacist. Both of these went against community standards according to Facebook, regardless of the tone or context of the post, and it was taken down in the giant sweep that took down thousands of Facebook groups across the political spectrum, hitting gun right groups, libertarians, Republican groups, Trump groups. Our group is liberal left, pretty American liberal left, that sort of thing. And now it seems that Facebook's algorithms have gotten better, I guess, as you could say, more strict, but better at instantly catching people that do anything that can be construed as bullying. So, for example, yesterday the day before yesterday, rather, I caught a 24-hour ban for explaining how someone using the words bitch and get the fuck out led to them getting banned. And because I used their same words, I caught a 24-hour ban.
Yep.
Other words like the C word, the W word, slut. These words being directed at people, if you like at them and respond to that, have also gotten people in trouble on Instagram. So yeah, they're definitely coming down hard and trying to sanitize language pretty heavily. What are the people's thoughts about this?
I think if they come for the fucks, I'm out of here.
Me too. My God, I won't have anything to say. I can't talk without saying fuck. I mean, fuck.
And also, I want to say that, yes, bukkake, that's just...
Like, that's gross.
Yeah,
Don't get me wrong.
bizarre.
It's a horrible, gross word. But at the same time, it's like, it's not like a racial slur. It's not like a gendered insult for a group. It's just really
and honestly,
gross.
it's in the right context. It's a beautiful thing. So, like, I don't understand why that's such a bannable offense. And Trump only got 12 hours. I got 24. I'm just saying.
Facebook just doesn't
Yeah.
understand love.
I didn't try to overthrow America. I'm just. That's all. I
Just try to paint it white.
For sure now.
Missing the fact that bitch is also a verb, and people use that a lot, and it really kind of, I don't know.
I don't know any women, because I don't let them anywhere near me unless they do. I don't know any woman who doesn't wave her bitch flag proudly.
Yeah.
We earn that shit.
This is true.
We earn that shit.
Yeah, and we've taken it back, and we say it all the time, and I don't. Yeah, it's not right. But you know what? It's what they do. I don't understand why we still have Facebook pages that organize a Stop the Steal riot in DC, but we can't say bitch.
Andrew Yang just tweeted President Pence. 2 words.
Ooh. Yeah.
There's a big 25th Amendment movement happening now. Lots of people are talking about it.
If you're going to exercise that, yeah. I don't see any other time in recent history you'd be able to, kind of. Especially if he gets slighted, he could just go off like a complete nut, and then even his allies would think like, I love this guy to death, and that's why I'm taking, like, he needs a social worker or whatever.
Yeah. No, that's very, very good point.
Because he always blows up anyway, right? Think about how much it was once Twitter shut his shit down.
Oh God!
Now he can't believe it.
Right.
Bolivia.
He could have started going off. He's like, let's go over to Iran real quick, guys. It's like, nah, man. You need to.
I gotta get my dopamine hit somehow. Let's kill some terrorists.
Yeah, exactly.
He is like a child. Like, I say this a lot, and I don't mean it as like a quick insult. He really is like if you dealt with really angry children who will spite you just because you tell them not to do something. He's kind of that. He fits the personality.
He was absolutely stunted at some point in like 4 to 7 or 8 years old. And his ego was stunted. I mean, it's like a real psychological thing. Help me out here, Afra. It's a real thing.
Yeah.
That happens. Your ego becomes stunted. And then all of the other circumstances of his life created a malignant narcissist who is unable to handle rejection, facts that are that run counter to his impression of himself. He's a walking psychological textbook, this guy.
I feel personally attacked right now, guys. You should not be talking about me in such vague terms. I get it.
No, it's true. I mean, there's a period of time in a child's life where they can either learn to have relationships with people that are communicative and where they feel like they know how to communicate in a way that they're being heard. And if that doesn't happen, the opposite is being cruel and manipulative and feeling entirely divorced from the rest of your family and the people around you. And there's been a lot said about Trump's upbringing and that it was possibly abusive because his parents saw behaviors in him that they didn't accept, and that he only became worse because of that, and that they sort of pushed him away instead of, bringing him in and trying to deal with that.
Wasn't his dad like a really bad dude, kind of in like?
He was an asshole.
Well, yeah, like his older brother was a much more sensitive person, and he like basically was like pushed to depression because of his dad, and the dad's just basically like, well, he's not tough, kind of thing. Like,
plus the
I mean, think about the upbringing this guy had to begin with. He was liked by his dad, so you got to be kind of shitty for that guy to be like, yeah, this is a tough one, this is a good guy.
Trump was a horrible, horrible person, terrible, and I didn't know him personally, but I know people who did know him personally, and he was just, and he taught his son to be ruthless and mean and not care about anybody, but like
and lie.
Formative point, he was also the victim of that, and unfortunately, so were his sons, most likely.
His narcissism also reveals itself in things like grievance collecting, and I mean, we could write a textbook on him. I'm telling you. Certainly, he's not the only one, just the biggest public one.
Yeah, not somebody you want to be the president of the United States,
or your friend, or your father.
The country did. And what does that say about the country?
No, you could put an R next to anybody's picture, and half the country's going to be like, "Yeah, I really like what they stand for. It's part of me. This is a really personal decision."
25%. That doesn't make it much better.
Ham sandwich up there, and they'll say that.
I can't remember what show it was back in like 2008, but they went around like reading like McCain policies and Obama policies, and like
Howard Stern.
but saying it was from the other side, and people like all you do is say, oh well, McCain stands for this, da 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 da. Like, oh yeah, I'm for that. And then same thing with Obama, they flip the policies. They're like, oh yeah, I'm for that.
Yeah, under normal social circumstances, they know exactly what to say. They know the dance moves, even if they have no clue what they mean. But once you say this is from him, then you just throw it right out of whack because they're not trained for that.
Yeah.
No, I remember seeing that. It was Howard Stern did it. I'm pretty
sure. Maybe it was
Jordan Klepper. Jordan Klepper did the same thing.
Jordan Klepper's really funny when he does it.
He's amazing.
Yeah. Those are really good.
But this was before he was out there, so yeah. But yeah. We have been streaming for just where's my timestamp at? For just under an hour and 30 minutes. We talked about vaccines. We talked about Trump. We talked about Georgia. We talked about Democrats, Republicans. We talked about Back the Blue people. Is there any other major topic that we need to discuss before we just kind of shoot the shit and invite people to come to the show if they want?
I just want to say one thing about the
New York State mayor race.
Oh, and we also talked about the New York State mayor race. Thank you, Afra, for that.
I just want to say one quick thing about the DC police, because I think that this is something that's it just strikes me as from a tactical and strategic kind of a mindset, is that there's video of the Trump mobs heading toward the Capitol and the police moving gates out of the way, just basically get whatever, getting out of the way.
Come on in.
Well, and you think about like last year, when they had like the different BLM protests in the streets, they had like, National Guard helicopters and everything was going crazy and tear gassing people at church and all that. It's an interesting contrast, but you think about, wow, like why would they be so much lighter on these guys? And again, like I know that the easy side is to say, oh, well, they're white. And there's definitely something to that. But in a real passive aggressive kind of what I mean, DC is a very, very, very democratic city, and when you don't really have anything to lose because you still basically have the police anyway, it's really easy to take a step back and let the criminals run free for a little bit to say, oh, look what the criminals did. This is why you need us. Yeah. And I think that they couldn't have done anything better other than to say, hey, you know what? You guys want to fuck up the Capitol? You want to torch it? You want to go nuts? Hey, you know what? Well, we don't want to cause any violence. We don't want any bloodshed. So we'll just get out of the way.
We picked tonight to be defunded.
They picked right. It's a self-defunding. They're like, we're going to defund ourselves.
That's right. They took control and decided when it would happen. And it was just for this little bit of time. That's all. That was an excellent point, Mateo.
I
it's more Art's point. I just made a quick joke.
I want to thank Mateo for bringing the humor. There was a lot of good zingers tonight. If people can clip those, that'd be great.
You had a couple of zingers tonight too, so don't sell yourself short.
Oh, thank you.
Despite being 5'3".
So Mitch McConnell was spot on.
Hey, even short men are kings, okay?
True.
Oh my God! Here we go. And men with little hands, apparently.
Oh,
I don't have little hands.
Small hands. No, but Donald Trump has very, very small hands. Very. Small
he has massive hands. They're like bear claws.
I'm not going to say that. I'm not
blowing off his hands. They were like just a little bit too big. Did you notice that? I got some pictures.
Yeah, I've noticed that.
Say something else so I get this out of my head before I just say it.
Sure.
Say it.
Maybe his hands look big when he takes a leak. There you go.
Oh, there it is.
There it is.
But how would he know? It's funny because fat guys can't see.
All right, we're all going to hell for this, but it's okay. We're being good company.
Y'all there.
So CDN says, to play devil's advocate, people were also starting to get squirrely, and they were getting quickly outnumbered. May have been a lot of motivation to de-escalate for personal safety. This is in regards to Art saying, let the animals run wild a little bit.
I think that's a great excuse, and that's the one they took. I think that I totally agree. If you're looking for a reason not to get involved, you say, oh, you know what? We don't want anyone to get hurt. If we escalate, then they're going to escalate, and nobody wants that. This is not logic that law enforcement ever uses in any other situation, but it sounds very reasonable to us. So I think that like what she's saying there, if you want an out as law enforcement and you just want to say, oh, you know what? We didn't want anyone to get hurt. We're just going to take a step back and, not cause any more trouble. So I love it. I freaking love it.
Great point. Thank you for bringing that up.
But it is a great point.
I mean, how many cops were around too? That's like kind of weird.
Why weren't they not prepared?
Probably kind of what Art was saying before.
Why were they not prepared?
They
was getting at.
They were prepared.
Just a few guys around.
Yeah, DC has a police force the size of a small standing army.
Yeah, so why were they not prepared for this shit to happen?
They were prepared. This is what I'm saying. They were prepared.
Yeah. So to reiterate,
so it was a false flag. It was a false flag, and they needed
no. So to reiterate Art's point here, if Art doesn't mind me jumping in, Art is basically saying that the police acted in this way in order to show everybody what happens when you let right-wingers, which these people clearly are, run wild and get squirrely and do all this other stuff. And if it's a little bit of property damage that happens, so be it. You're going to come back in. Law and order is going to be reestablished. We're going to go back to regular norms. And it ends up being mostly a good thing. Art, if that didn't get the entire thing, go ahead, please.
Well, I think that the police themselves would probably have been just as happy to crack skulls. But the people who run DC, as far as like the city council, the mayor, the powers that be, were probably more than happy to say, you know what? Sure, that's what you guys want. You guys want to have a wild day where you storm the Capitol? Okay, we don't want anybody to get hurt. We'll just stand back, let you do what you want to do.
Oh, see, I was thinking you were saying like that's why I made the joke, the defund the police joke. I thought you were saying they want to show everyone's like, you want the police defunded? Hey, look what happens. I thought.
Oh, you know what? I think in another situation they would that would also be very valid.
Yeah,
I just think
what you're saying.
Well, that's exactly what happened in Kenosha. So
Well, yes, exactly. So places like that, that's when police do, maybe do that and say, hey, you know what? You don't want us to get involved? Fine, we don't get involved. Have fun with the fires. But this, I think, was probably more of something that was directed from on high, from like more of the city council mayor level, where they're like, oh, okay, you Trump guys want to come to the city and, go nuts in the Capitol? Okay, well, that's what you want. Don't want anybody to get hurt. You guys want to do your Second Amendment thing and all that? We'll stay out of your way. You have your freedom.
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 And it was perfect. Now there's an ironclad lockdown. I mean, aside from the stuff that might be on fire, but they basically had a weird period of crazy where it got way out of control. Horrible optics. I mean, beyond horrible optics. History making. The U.S. Capitol hasn't actually been breached since 1814. I mean, It is insane what actually just happened here, and it has turned the GOP on a dime. Like, you literally have the vice president coordinating with the rest of the government without the president involved. Like, it's hard to overstate what these photos have done. And I can't help but feel that the police could have very easily squashed this very easily. I mean, tear gas, rubber bullets, but I mean, they really could have broken this up if they wanted to. And the fact that they didn't, we all knew what was happening. They had a long time to figure out how to respond to it. I can't help but they decided to set the dial at, you know what? We're just going to stay out of this one. We'll just let it play out. And it did.
It's a very good point. I think that probably has some truth to it, to be honest. So.
There was somebody in the group today on Facebook said, we're watching the end of democracy. And I immediately thought, no.
That person probably says that like 3 times a month.
Probably
I
so.
heard that so many times in these past 4 years, and it's like, kill me now. Just shut the fuck up with that already. Like, democracy will be here.
What happened today, obviously, is like far and away and beyond anything that has ever happened in the history of the United States of America. What came immediately to my mind?
Property this time instead of private property, I'd say.
What immediately came to my mind, though, if I can finish my point, what immediately came to my mind was, we're not watching the burning down of democracy. We're watching the burning down of Trump's hold on Congress.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they can't back him after this.
For at least another year or so.
It's not going to hurt. It's not. Our institutions remain strong.
Especially after that tweet, that like 6 o'clock tweet. Like, that is just like, you have to. You're so self-destructive at that point. It's just. He could have easily tried to be like, "Oh, I'm a peaceful guy. Everyone go home." Instead, he like tries to rally people, and it's like a ragtag group. It's really not that many people. Like, what does he think is going to get out of this? It's
exactly what he got.
It's the worst episode of Veep ever.
You're right.
He just wants this. He doesn't care if he's going to get. He wants to watch people who love him and wave his flags, and he will take that over everything. There's no long-term calculation with Trump. I wish that people would stop thinking that there was. It's all ego all the time, and needing to feel coddled by the people around him. And he got that, and he's not about to like let it go.
No, I think
it does feel like Pence is the president right now. So I guess go President Pence. I don't know.
I think that is a great point. I'm going to go ahead and end it here. If you guys want to stay on and talk and shoot the shit or whatever, fine. But for all intents and purposes, the news roundup is complete. Thank you everybody so much for joining us. Like I said earlier, we are live Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern. We also do 2 episodes a month. We're trying to expand it to 3, where we release an episode talking about a variety of topics, from Unite the Right rallies or alt-right and Democrats and various histories and things like that of American politics. We even did an episode on cancel culture, and we release those on the 2nd and 4th Tuesday, generally speaking, of every month. You can find us on all your favorite podcast streaming services, Spotify, iTunes, Google, etc. So wherever you get your streaming service, you can find us. And as always, keep your head up through the political storm. So I'm going to change the name. Are you guys wanting to stay on and stream some more? If you have to go, you have to go, or whatever. I'm going to change the name so we can.
I definitely have to go.
Okay.
Bye.
Me too.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. Thank you again for joining us. We'll go ahead and call it.
Bye
Thanks
now.
all.